Hey everybody, Steve again from Angelina County, and I have an update on Glenn Smallwood's death in the Angelina County Jail. I wanted to give everybody an update. I still continue to work on it. The main issues here is the fact is that our county will not release the jail video, and my quest to actually have it released. As we have seen in the past, we have seen Tarrant County, Smith County, Uvalde. All these individuals are coming forward, and they are releasing video. The reason why this is because the potential lawsuit and them holding on to this information is now it'll go to a civil court, and they want to avoid that. However, in Angelina County, we don't recognize that, and multiple requests to the county for the video and also the timelines of the incident have been requested. They have all been denied by Kerry Kirby. The opinion went to the Attorney General, and the Attorney General comes back and states that they agree with have to be released. However, the fact is I believe that any death in a jail must be investigated, and all evidence should be produced to coincide with the stories being told and also the actual events that occurred that evening. Now, it is very difficult for people to actually watch some videos, but you are more than welcome not to watch it. You have the right to comment on it. You have the right to see all the evidence that actually caused this man's death. I don't understand why our Attorney General, that our county attorney, the district attorney, these guys are not looking into this. Now, here's the points. Number one, Sheriff Selman says that he doesn't want to release because of the family. That the family requested that this video not be shown. We know that to be BS because the fact is Mr. Smallwood's brother has a civil case on the death of his brother in the Angelina County Jail. Number two is that the district attorney is responsible for showing the grand jury or not showing evidence based on what they make their case out to. Grand jury, we don't know for sure if the grand jury actually have seen this video. We do know that the grand jury has stated that they're not going to pursue a case, or they're not going to pursue the investigation any further. And at this time, there was not enough evidence for him to be charged. Now, this goes without saying. The fact is that any death in a jail in Texas has been put on the hot burner for investigative units, because the fact is that we've had so many deaths in the jail due to the heat, due to malfeasance, due to our jail staff not properly being trained. And also the fact is that it goes under the radar because here's the deal. People believe that, okay, he's arrested. He must have done something wrong. He must have done. These individuals have not even been. Mr. Smallwood, I know for fact, he hadn't been charged with a crime yet. He had not been charged. He was just in the county jail for intoxication. Okay, so let's go through this. Those are the points that we're going to be making here. And I have questions, and hopefully you'll provide me with your answers or in essence, to also where I can send this video for someone, some investigative agency, somebody to look into this, because a death in a jail is a serious matter. It is very important that the public knows what goes on inside their jail, the policies, the procedures, all these things that we pay for. We pay for the jail. We pay for the individuals who work at the jail. Right now, we are working on extension of our jail, which we have $16 million that we have borrowed, or we have a capable of borrowing. I think the local bid, the last bid we actually have was $14,500. I'm sorry, $14,500,000. Sorry about that. Now, this item was actually addressed. Oh, okay. Here's the individuals that I've contacted so far. And we're going to put names to the pages here because these are actually public information. And even though they do not want to be recognized, so they don't want to know what your stance is. Well, hold on. I was going to show you. Okay. The Texas Department of Jail Standards, they were contacted. I actually put in a Freedom of Information request to the Commission on Jail Standards asking for the video. Because with a death in a jail, then the commission is actually responsible for monitoring the safety aspect and the actual compliance of jails. This is why this was sent to them, because I believe that the Sheriff's Department was not compliant on their procedures, on them being transparent and upfront with the public on this. And also the fact is, I have a statement here from, This was actually produced, and the statement, the affidavit, is Mr. Nick Gardner. Now, there's his name there, Nick Gardner. Now, can you look at this name here? Hold on, let me see where I can get it. Look at this name right here. Whose name does that look like? I don't know. But the affidavit says Nick Gardner. It's signed by this individual, and it was by Morgan Stanley. Morgan Stanley, who was the notary on this. So it has a question of actually if this is being available, if this is sort of a true document or not. Now, in review of the case, I have come up with the following items that make it apparent that there's an investigation needs to be done here. At 9:52, okay, and I'm going to read this off of the actual. Okay, Sheriff's Office releases name of a Lufkin man who died shortly. And he was pronounced dead at the Lufkin Hospital after being transported there by ambulance. He was found slumped over and unresponsive during an observation check at the jail. Sheriff, this is a statement that we have by Sheriff Selman. Here is the case. Number one, he was actually in the jail at 9:52 and was observed by medical staff. He was, we don't know at this time or not, but we do know that when he entered the jail, that he had no abrasions, no nothing on him. However, the fact is that the actual coroner on the deal, sorry, my accent, the coroner on the deal stated that he was dead at 11:36 at this time. It doesn't say it may have happened. It doesn't say he was en route to the hospital. No, the actual time on the death certificate and also the coroner's report says 11:36. That's the first point. The second point is, after reviewing the booking data for that evening, He was dead at 11:36. 11:36. However, the booking report shows that he was completely booked in at 12:28. He was actually stated that he was revived by a police officer. We have it on good authority that he was actually in the process of being booked, and during this process he passed away at 11:36. But the booking report, I think I stated that already, but I want to say it again. That's 12:28. So something doesn't jive. Now, we have statements from Sheriff Selman, and we have statements from Mr. Nick Gardner, who was the current warden at the time, and they have all stated that all these facts are true. But the fact of the matter is that there's two statements by two individuals who weren't even there. They had to go by logbooks. They had to go by the logs that the deputies actually had to. You have to sign a logbook whenever you make patrols, or whenever you make those patrols, when you revive back patrols, to make sure you're in compliance with the jail standards as laid out by the Texas Commission on Jail Standards. This was not followed. We also have good information, and we can confirm this by the individuals who were in jail at that time, that he did not go straight to detox. There was a period of time that he was put into a pod with housed other prisoners or other inmates, and there was a time that he was actually deemed by the other inmates he was psychotic. He was having a psychotic episode. We know this because the fact is, at the time of the arrest, the arresting officer had a body cam. The second officer who was responding, his body cam didn't work. I think maybe that's something we need to take a look at, don't you? That was from the Lufkin Police Department. However, they did get this on tape from the arresting officer, and he was, in this tape, you can actually see. The Lufkin Police Department released their video of Mr. Smallwood, and he was kneeling on the sidewalk, talking to himself. Officers asked him, "Who are you talking to?" He said, "My girlfriend right over there." There was nobody there. So we have evidence of a psychotic moment. We have an individual talking to himself. Was it drug induced? Was it not? I'll go over there in a minute. Now, on the ride back, the officer called into dispatch, called in Mr. Smallwood's name, and the dispatch stated that this person was requiring medical assistance. They had gotten a call from mental health authorities and or the hospital, letting the sheriff's department or letting the Lufkin Police Department know that he required medical assistance. The term they used was AMA. Now, I don't know what the A in AMA stands for, but I do know that it was called in, and the dispatch responded, he's AMA. The officer responded, well, is he AMA now? But the dispatcher said not technically. The officer then stated, "Oh, this must have been the guy we've been looking for all day." So they were aware this individual needed medical assistance. We have reports that he had actually received treatment at the Burke Center, which is a mental health facility. And we also have, we can't get the information because of patient doctor privilege, but there's evidence that he was in the hospital being detoxed. How do you detox an individual on K2 or something along these lines, then the only thing you can do is pump them full of fluids, let it work itself out. And you need to stay there until you're detoxed. Mr. Smallwood, in his psychotic state, just got up and left. And he in his route from the hospital to the Burke Center, back to his mental health facility that he had been admitted to. So he knew he was going back there to get help. This man was crying for help. He was actually in the hospital. They were giving IV. They were trying, but in his psychotic state, the only place he could receive help was the Burke Center. Now, the case even gets better, or it gets better. The reason why that they say that they're not going to release the video, this is part of the quote that it looks like, I don't know if this is got, but anyway, this is what the affidavit says, is that the video contains information that identifies the vulnerabilities of the security system in the jail. The video shows the layout of the booking area where all inmates are processed upon their arrival to jail. It shows where the other cameras are located in this area, the access doors to the exterior of the building, and holding detox cells and plumbing chases to the holding cells. The video shows the booking officer and the operations of the book area, as well as employees levels and areas of law enforcement officer unarmed inside the facility. Now, okay, here's my questions. If you are intent, okay, this statement aligns with terrorist activities, that this information could be used by terrorists in Angelina County. We have no terrorism threats in Angelina County. We've never had an issue of terrorism attacks. So what are they talking about? Well, they're talking about that these cameras will identify confidential or secret information. However, the fact is, the Freedom of Information Act requires that we understand and totally aware of our jail and its capabilities, and where us taxpayers need to devote more money to make this jail more secure. They also state that for the other inmates, there may be some privacy issues. Okay, you've just stated that there's no other inmates in that booking area. The only inmates that are in or even around the booking area, unescorted, are the trustees. They're assigned duties outside or whatever to mop up, clean up, or whatever. Let me get to that. If they would have interviewed trustees, then they would have found out that they were ordered to clean up blood inside the cell. This is before any investigation took place. This is before anything. So now you're looking at a crime scene, potentially, or scenes that needs to be secure from the area. So whenever the investigator gets there, then he's looking at the scene exactly the way it was when this happened. This was not done so. They tampered with the evidence because the fact is they cleaned up blood on the floor. They were asked how come they were asked how did he get the contusion on his head. They said, oh, he must have fell down. We have it on good authority that in the inmates that were in their pod that they were in, they stated that they put him in there. They put him in the pod, and somebody in the prison jacked him up. Some part of the jail, part of the inmates in the jail, they jacked him up. Now, this goes back to the psychosis. So in other words, you put an intoxicated man into general population, hadn't been detoxed, Then when he got his ass whooped, y'all put him back in a detox cell. But it doesn't explain one issue. The coroner's report that was issued stated that he did have drugs in his system. The coroner's report also stated that he had a contusion on his head. It also stated that he had bruise marks or marks on his arms, his legs, and over during his extremities. The extremities we can explain away because the fact is that they were issuing CPR. I don't know if you've ever issued CPR. Sometimes when you issue CPR, you're pushing so hard you break a rib. So we can attribute those, the chest area, to CPR being applied. However, the fact is it doesn't explain the marks left by the restraints. It doesn't explain why they never mentioned that he was in restraints. I checked with the sheriff's department. I got their standard operating procedures. Their standard operating procedures state that there got to be at least 8 per people there. 2 of those people have got to be the officer on duty, or the sheriff deputy on duty, and also the medical personnel that put somebody in restraints. The medical personnel at 10:36 evaluated Mr. Smallwood, took his blood pressure. The statement that they put out was the fact is that it was in range of somebody who had ingested drugs. I don't know which scale they're using. I don't know. If somebody's blood pressure is high, then you know it, and you note what the blood pressure is. Southern Healthcare Partners have the contract for medical providing medical assistance or providing medical to the Angelina County Jail. We reached out to them for a freedom of information request asking who was on duty that night. They never answered. We do know which inmates, or we do know who was working that evening. That information will be coming out. However, the fact is these individuals actually were witnesses to this incident. They were never disposed. The only 2 people that were disposed was one, Sheriff Selman, who wasn't even there. Number 2, Nick Gardner, who was he was the warden. He has a statement. He wasn't even there. So basically, we didn't interview all the people. We should have interviewed the guards that took place in this incident and investigation. And number 2, we should have interviewed the trustees. And we should have interviewed anybody that had eyesight who would maybe have seen this or heard this information. None of those were deposed. The information on the investigation done by the Texas Rangers, first and foremost, it was done by James Hicks, the Texas Ranger. However, the fact is Mr. Hicks had been reprimanded for his investigations prior to this incident because of supposedly fabricating evidence to the DA to get more information on the individual that they wanted to press charges on or whatever. So the Texas Rangers reprimanded him, and they also said, okay, we're going to transfer you out of this area. That was their solution. They reprimanded him and then moved him out of the area so he could do more investigations in Angelina County anymore. This was done over a year ago. Why is he leading an investigation where he has no jurisdiction? He has no, jurisdiction maybe, but he has been assigned somewhere else. Why did he get the call? Why wasn't he negated from being able to conduct the investigation? A crime scene that never was roped off. People had full access to it, come and go as you please. And also the fact is you had time to clean up the blood in the jail cell, and you actually failed to interview all the witnesses. So all we have is hearsay. We have hearsay, and nobody who actually was involved or saw the incident was ever interviewed. I don't know about you, but if you're going to conduct an investigation, you need to go full blown and you need to do it 100% effectively. However, the fact is, it wasn't done. The coroner's report also stated that he was dead at 11:36. He had passed away. The coroner's report states the time and date of his death. Information was released out on the 19th, the day after, or the day before that day after he passed away, which appeared in the Lufkin Daily News. We never get Lufkin Daily News to comment on anything that's political. What was this? This was a push to get the story out before the facts were known. In other words, they interviewed a person who was not there at the situation and determined that all was okay, and this is the way they reported it. Not even following up on the investigation, not even following up on the story. So it seems to be, where there's rock, where there's a mountain, there might be a molehill somewhere on that mountain. But this is what we have here. Now, release of the video has been a very hot topic in Texas because of the fact is that these potential type of accidents keep occurring, and we keep seeing videos of blatant violations of the law with handling these prisoners or inmates. We have, like I stated, Uvalde, Smith County, Tarrant County. There's many other counties that have actually done this. So what's different about this case? Here we go. H.R. 30 was passed to take effect on September the 1st of last year. Mr. Smallwood died before it took effect. So it states in there that it can't be retroactive. This is how they're getting away from actually providing the actual video. Because that statement right there, it says it's not retroactive. Okay, that's the law. However, on good authority, the reason why it wasn't signed into law before is because the fact is it got lost on our governor's desk. There was a period of time where it passed the House and Senate, but it made it to the governor's desk, but it never was signed off on. How long does it take to sign off on something? And that the day that he signed it was actually, it went into effect on September the 1st. This is the argument. And this argument is basically, it makes no sense. Because the fact is that, what are we hiding? Why can't the actual story come out? If it is proven, or if you can redact whatever the hell you want to redact on it. We don't want to see other prisoners. We don't want to see all that. You can redact that, but we need to see exactly what happened that evening to Mr. Smallwood. Angelina County in the state of Texas is denying citizens of an opportunity to look and measure our jail and its capabilities and its shortfalls. They have taken this back to where Some people have to. Some counties have to. Some don't. The reason why that I bring up these cases is because the fact is like I said, they will not release the information because it could create political turmoil. And also the fact is that this is what the other counties are realizing, that if they don't, then the civil lawsuit is going to be huge. We also have, per Del Sofino Consulting, we have a video of a person in Nacogdoches jail who was jacked up, who was put in restraints. And per the video, they left him in the hallway in restraints. He was in a wheelchair in restraints, couldn't move. Next thing we see an individual, we don't know who, come out, give him a shot in his arm. Walked away. 15 minutes later, this individual goes into seizures. Luckily, this individual survived. Luckily, and it can live to tell about it today. The DA of Nacogdoches County has actually refused to look into it, just as our district attorney here in Angelina County has refused to do any investigation. Because the fact is that they have the Texas Ranger report, which is not indicative of the true facts. It doesn't state all the true facts. It leaves a gap in the story that they're telling. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if something happens and a person dies, we go out of our way to find out what happened, what the cause of it was, what in the civilian world. But once you become an inmate, you lose your rights. Your civil rights go with you no matter where you go, especially when you're awaiting trial. You haven't been convicted of anything. Now, what effect does it have? Well, it scares me to say so. But people who reside in Angelina County pretend they don't care. They actually won't even address the issue. They want to put it under the rug or sweep it under the rug. The amount of information that comes out is limited. However, I will state I have gotten really good response from the Lufkin PD, who have basically showed me everything and been clean, and have been clean. And the only thing I could find out is one of the officers didn't have his camera working. I think you guys might want to pay attention to that, because there is a civil section that says if you don't have your camera on, then you should receive a reprimand, demotion, or even firing, depending on the case. I have notified, and I will continue to notify multiple newspaper outlets. I have contacted all of my representatives. I have contacted the Attorney General's office, the OIG, and this video is going to go to the Attorney General of the United States. What I'm asking for is simple. I want a proper investigation. I want an investigation on the investigation. Because if we get that, then all malfeasance, everything that went wrong, and everything they're covering up is going to come out. And that is transparency. That is transparency as defined in Wikipedia, where I looked it up under, and it says shedding light onto the subject. We're shedding light, but you don't get to just hide in the shadows. You shine light on everything, but that's not been happening here. I want to challenge the media for not looking into this. Why not? I want to challenge the media because the fact is that we already know that in the instance of, in all the incidences that I've mentioned, it's taken 2 years to get the video. I want to know why our county officials have not even addressed this. And I'll tell you what I think. If they leave it as is, the investigation, the whole 9 yards, they're going to get it. The civil lawsuit's going to go through. It's going to cost them some money. But if there is misconduct in any way, shape, form, or fashion, that money goes up. Because the fact is that not only is this person suing for a wrongful death, but also the civil lawsuit will actually point out fingers on saying who actually did it, and that is what not did it, but was there and not deposed. I got the coroner's report from Judge Cheshire. Judge Cheshire, I had to pay what, $3 or something. I don't know. Anyway, it was a pain in the ass because I had $5 bill, and I just went there and I said, you know what, go call it even. No, we got to get you changed. I made it as difficult as they possibly could for me to get this document, the document from the coroner. I have yet to speak to the coroner. However, the fact is I will be shooting a letter off to him this evening, asking him some questions and finding out if he has any other details that were not addressed, or details that he may have asked the Texas Ranger that may or may not have made it into his report. A death to anybody should be considered the ultimate reason why we have full disclosure. Why? To make sure it doesn't happen again. My videos are too long to cover everything that I have in here. I've got documents stacked up to my yin yang in my drawer down there, but the fact of the matter is it doesn't what they're telling me doesn't make sense, and the way they conducted the investigation is questionable, at least. We still have information coming in from the OIG. We still have information coming in from the FBI. We still have information coming in, but the fact is they don't want to touch it. Because they don't want to have to redo an investigation of what it might lead to. So, if you are an individual who actually believes in transparency, and you're a person who actually believes in getting to the truth, a person who believes in finding out and participates in your government to make sure that they dot the I's and cross the T's, then this video is for you. There are many more questions that I'm coming up with that I'm not getting answers to. And the answers that they have given me doesn't coincide with the statements that were given. So I didn't mean to rag on Angelina County. What I did say is that we all should be actually reviewing our jail and procedures, especially when we're actually going to add on an extension. It's going to cost us $14.5 million. Are we dumping $14.5 million? If we do, we extend the jail. How many more people are going to die? When asked, and when actually requesting the standard operating procedures, here's what I was given. The fact is, well, it's basically on-the-job training. That's a violation of Texas law. Everyone has to be trained in proper use and applying restraints. The SOP, and you can go to the SOP, and it's like whatever the Texas law says, it says something else. We do differently with what Texas law requires. You think maybe somebody would have said that, especially when we're getting ready to spend all this money on a new jail or extension to the jail. Why is this being held up? Why can't it be redacted? Why can't you don't have to show the actual death. All you need to provide is what events happened in lieu of that caused his death. We have a right to know. This directly goes to the Attorney General's office. You want to hold these jails accountable, but yet your investigations that you have and looking into the deaths that we've had and allowing information to get out has hamstrung the public. In short, we do not know what's going on in our jails, and there's some things we don't need to know about. But when you're talking about a death of an individual, you need to be able to state and to show exactly what happened, the logbooks, the video, and the interviews with the staff, the trustees, and also this noise was heard all the way down into some of the cells. So now you have potential witnesses of this incident that never have been interviewed. And as long as the Attorney General makes his stance, then he's basically saying, I don't want to know what happened in that jail. I do not believe the public needs to be aware. Going back to the statement by Mr. Gardner. This fingerprint photo station used to detect process we transmitted to CJS. The video shows techniques used to restrain combative inmates and release the video reveal or procedures. He stated right here. It doesn't appear in a Texas Ranger report. It would allow. Here we go. Release of this video would allow private citizens to anticipate weaknesses in the jail and jeopardize the safety of jail staff, on-duty police officers, as well as inmates. This knowledge would have obtained in those videos would unduly interfere with law enforcement and crime prevention. You committed a crime. What are you doing? What steps are you taking to correct the issue? Maybe you might want to train your people in jail restraints. And maybe you might want to admit that there were restraints used, because Selman didn't even come up with that. He never stated that. But keep in mind, these two statements are by two people that weren't even there. It's hearsay evidence, and our county attorney and our district attorney is ignoring the fact that there is a strong possibility that malfeasance was done to this individual. We do not know about it as a citizen population, and we will not find out. Thus, we cannot provide the resources for this jail to be in compliance. Texas Commission on Jail Standards, they go through and they say what the guidelines are for all the jails. If you don't meet the guidelines, then they put you in non-compliance, and you have a certain amount of days to comply, and they have to come back and re-inspect or whatever. When talking to the Commission of Jail Standards, they never review the methods and procedures to require somebody in restraints. In 2002, Angelina County was found non-compliant on our medical staff because the fact is they were not correctly issuing medications, and that they were using medication to maintain. They would not hand out medication to certain individuals that they wanted to do something else, that they wanted them to do something else, or to admit to something else, or to actually turn on somebody else. If you have a heart medication, if you have something taken, whatever, if they actually fail to provide it, which is actually in the statement, come on, man. You're refusing medical care that's ordered by a doctor. Who gives you that authority? I really cannot say enough about the Attorney General and their staff. They're supposed to be well-educated people, and they should be able to identify these issues and be able to say, yeah, I want to see the video too. But unfortunately, our district attorney and our attorney general are willing to let a death in a jail slide by, not do any investigation of their own, or not release a video. And that's sad. Why is it so difficult for them to understand that in every case scenario that these jails and these police officers are releasing information that it paints the whole picture of what really happened? So we can determine this. They don't want us to know. They don't want us to know how bad it is. They don't want to know the proper procedures. They don't want us to know those because we think in our minds, and you know what? That's police officers. They know what they're doing. Let me ask you a question. If your son, daughter, or loved one actually was put in a jail, knowing this information, then future information is going to come out. Would you feel safe for that individual going to jail? The jail's supposed to be there to protect the individual until they get to trial. This was not protecting the individual. And here's what scares me the most. Is the fact is they get away with it. 2001, we got non-compliant again, because the fact is that they weren't making rounds on time. How many more complaints do we have to have, especially from the jail standards report, that actually shows them being a non-compliance? How many more non-compliance do we have until we actually get to see what actually is going on inside our jail? I don't give a damn about the rest of the inmates. I don't care about their personal information. If it was so detrimental, or you cared so much about these people's privacy, then why in the hell do you post their picture first thing on Monday, or first thing in the morning after their arrest? You post their photo and you post the story that is not actually post the story that's one-sided, and this individual has not even gone to jail. Please tell me how the Lufkin data needs to get away with that. Defamation of character. That's what they call it. Any individual whose name or their photo appears after they were arrested, and it's not properly documented why they were arrested, I don't know. This goes back to our news reporting agencies here in East Texas, because they only want to tell one side of the story, and there can't possibly won't be another one, because the fact is that the county doesn't care. Here's what you got. You got a person who actually had drugs in the system, who's actually psychotic, who was actually reported that he needed medical assistance. He went to the jail. He was coherent. I mean, he wasn't coherent. He was having a psychological episode, which is proof from the Lufkin Police Department, their video. They didn't recognize the medical assistant. They did not even inform the sheriffs, or the deputies there, that there was a problem. We're not sure if the deputies got this information or not. But you know what? If there's a guy that's psychotic, and there's a guy who is intoxicated and he's mouthing off to himself. He's talking to himself, whatever. That might be a little piece of information that you want to share. You would think. Now for the kicker. Last thing I'm going to say, last point I'm going to make. It's very simple. The coroner's report, when they actually issued the cause of death, was an accident. Not drug overdose, not accidental overdose. None of these things. It was an accident. Who caused the accident? Who? Please tell me the story of how this accident happened. And it will be showed, it will be told on that video, and that's what they don't want you to hear. And everybody's involved in it. I am ashamed of my attorney general. I am ashamed of the attorney general's office. I'm ashamed of the OIG, because if this is the kind of justice that they actually put down from the top down, we got a problem. If the governor is aware of this, that his district, that his attorney general is doing this shit, and he's aware of it, then guess what? He's an accomplice, because he allows this to go on. That's why I cannot throw my full weight behind Abbott or Paxton, because this is the good old boy network. This is how it works. The man just so happened to be black. If it was a white man in this situation, public outroar would be something that couldn't. But here is the mentality. The man was black. He was on drugs. He was psychotic. We don't care. Death is better for him. That way we can sleep at peace at night. When the man needed mental health. Do we just turn our back on mental health? On mental health? Do we just turn our back on the issues that actually are mental health? In Tarrant County, the actual sheriff actually even stated he's in trouble now because of the same kind of thing. Actually stated that 60% of his population is mentally ill. And these individuals have never seen by a professional. And the people that they have seen on the medical staff, they called it wrong. And Southern Health Partners is a big, big part of this, where if you look at them, they cover the South, and there's been multiple lawsuits filed against them. So I rambled on for an hour. In this case, I still have more facts. If you have any questions or concerns, or hit me up, ask me the questions. If I don't know right now, I will find out. You guys, see my hat, my veteran. 2 wars. Even in a war, we do an investigation to find out what happened. We do an AAR to tell exactly how it happened, so we can tell the parents, we can tell the loved ones exactly what he was doing or she was doing, and we can actually provide proof of this happened, and we actually do it on an AA report, and then a statement from the commander and assistant commander, the NCOs in charge. Everybody's involved. This is not the military. Well, it gets simple real quick. Do you care about an individual who died in your county jail, or just don't give a shit? Me personally, I want to know everything there is to know. I want to review the standards. I want to review all of the facts, so I can make a self-determined. I can make my own opinion on what happened. Public investigations. That means private investigations. That means these private investigators, they're going to find out shit that doesn't jive with the real story. What does that mean for the county? One thing, as soon as one detail is found about the death, if there was anything done or not done to save this man's life or to attempt to save this man's life, the figure goes up. The figure for the civil case, as rightly should, the amount will go up. They think they got in front of it, but it ain't over with yet. To our commissioners, you better get in front of this. You better get in front of this. All right, I've spoke too much on this conversation. I actually got my YouTube channel back up, and I wiped out my Twitter and my Facebook. I've got a new Twitter handle and a new Facebook because I'm tired of preaching to the choir. Everybody knows this is going on in Angelina County, and nobody actually asks questions. Nobody questions the authority. Nobody asks why. How come? Where does it say so? Show me. This is needed by a community to stand up for their rights. If we have a if we don't have a bill of rights, if we're not able to sue for their implications, if we're not being able to sue when our bill of rights is trampled on and taken away from us, then we ought to have the right as a community to actually sue. And they're taking away that capability. All right, guys, I'm in and I'm out. I'm going to post this every damn where. Okay. There's got to be somebody who pays attention. There's got to be more than me just asking questions. And there's got to be a community that actually wants to find out how a death in their own jail happened and why that the information is being hidden from us. And I don't know who all else I need to tell, but I'm actually shooting out another video because this is not going away. We have too many things. Oh, and I will leave you with this, then I'll get out of here. Okay, we have people in our commissioner's office. 3 of these individuals were appointed. We only have 2 left. 3 of these individuals were appointed. We have a sheriff who was appointed. We have a district attorney who's been appointed. And we have a county attorney who is incapable of reading the law and actually providing for its citizens and too busy protecting the commissioners and their wrongdoing. You guys be good, be careful. Please like and share. Please just on my channel, just say something that you heard it or whatever, that you shared it. That's all I want to know, is that you shared it with somebody who gives a shit. So thank you guys. God bless you. Hope the rain stopped. I'm out.